Hi, good evening, everyone. It's Shamila Ramjawan coming to you from the Red Corner Show in Johannesburg, South Africa. My guest this evening is Mumtaz Mahal Suliman, who is a teacher by profession, a business owner, TopCarpets Floors Sandton Rosebank. Well done to that. I didn't even know that you're in Johannesburg. She's also an author, mother, grandmother, and therapeutic teacher as a You Can Heal Your Life facilitator, a Reiki practitioner, and Aafiyah healing techniques, offering healing as NPO serving her higher purpose. We're going to get to know this wonderful lady tonight. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Doctor, for having me share space with such a phenomenal woman as yourself. I'm so grateful, and I also thank the listeners and the viewers for joining in with us.
It's only a pleasure. I'm so looking forward to hearing everything about you because you have such an interesting profile. And I think you're really going to inspire a lot of people today. And there's going to be lots of lessons learned. So moving ahead, maybe just tell our audience a little bit about who you are, your background, where you come from, early childhood, anything that you'd like to share that would inspire and your interesting life.
I don't know if you'd call it an interesting life. I think it was a very challenging life. However, I do believe that we need these challenges to break us and to evolve our spirit and our human beings so that we can fulfill our purpose on earth. When we do face our makers at some point, we're not going to be saying, I was eating and I was sleeping, I went to the toilet and I made a whole lot of money. We're going to be asked about how we served. And I began my journey. I didn't live with my parents. I began my journey because due to the apartheid era, I was forced to live 100 kilometers away. And so I stayed at an aunt's place. I went to school there. I didn't have the blessed opportunity of having a mom hold my hand and go to school the first day. So I had lots of emotional issues from way back then. And then I'd written this book. I'd published it last year, sharing my story from 6 years old because I was sexually molested at 6. And then I had further molestations in a madrasa at 10 years old. And these were all issues that I'd buried and blocked away. And when you're growing up with so many issues, you tend to feel not good enough. So when you feel not good enough and you're in such a negative space, you attract everything else. You attract more things to make you feel like the mop, the undeserving mop. You know, mops are used to clean away dirt, and you only pick it up when you need to. So during that time, I'd attracted a partner. We had a wonderful relationship. However, due to certain issues baggage he could have been carrying, I was in an abusive marriage for 15 years. But the turning point of my story is that I'm still married to the man because he took accountability. And for me, that's the real hero in my book because we seem to somehow be stuck in a Neanderthal thinking capacity where we don't take ownership. And for him to have taken ownership and responsibility and accountability and shift with me when I took my power back, we're together now 29 years. So I guess the reason I want to enjoy these platforms that people like you create for me is to educate the woman who's abused or the abused person. It's to educate the men or the abuser to say, I can take accountability. We all make mistakes. We all have a bad day. I've made a mistake. I want to fix things up. It's to educate societal norms because people like us that want to talk and want to voice what we've been through or the abuse that we've been through, we are judged by society very critically. So you may get 10 people that will take the book and 10 that won't support it. The 10 that have taken it, there could be one person that will pick up the phone or DM me and say, thank you for giving me a voice. I feel safe. If somebody I know like you can come out with your deep, dark secrets, then I'm feeling safe to share mine as well. And I think, I really wanted to share this book for the next generation. I've got daughters, I've got children, I've got a grandson. I want to make life better for them. I want them to be assertive enough to say that if something doesn't serve them, if something's toxic for me, I can walk away from it. I don't want them to be stuck in the belief systems that our generation were, because we stayed stuck in toxic relationships or toxic places because we were afraid of what people would say. I was afraid of what people would say. Some people are worse off than me. They're probably in fear, because if they have to speak against the abuser, their lives are in danger. So, let's face it, doctor, women are not protected. In this country, women are not protected, because when they do speak out, the law does not protect them. And people are not there to support them.
Yes, I so agree with you. And I think, you know what, it takes a lot for somebody to come out and speak about it like you. I mean, you've been through so many traumatic experiences. But, going back, molested at 6 years old and then 10 years old, how did you know at the time that it was wrong? Who did you go to? Take me through the entire experience.
Okay, at 6 years old, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was normal. I mean, I've shared the story on almost every interview, but I think you have a different viewership each time. And I suffered with sleep paralysis for 42, 43 years of my life. I'm going to be 48 this year, right? And I went to different Maulanas, and people said, you have witchcraft and you have this and you have that. And I was going completely cuckoo, blaming everybody. Only to realize last year when I finished this book, I was meant to go on a segment, and she asked me to revisit the 6-year-old. And I think I sat with that story till about 12:30, way past midnight. I cried like a baby, because it was the very first time in so many years that I'd gone and revisited that 6-year-old and the nightmares of that experience. You will not believe I've not had sleep paralysis for the last year, which means I've healed that emotion. It was really an emotion, because when I went through what I did at 6, I remember the hands going around the mouth, one hand there and one hand in my private part. So it was very much the same thing that I experienced with the sleep paralysis, the constricting of the blood vessels and the lack of air that's going to your brain. It's as if something or someone's sitting on your chest. So I only healed that experience. I mean, I tell people now when I speak about it, I say that I lost the better part of my life. It took me, at 35, I had to walk into Ashika Singh's room with a completely different issue. I walked in there because of my abusive husband. And she said, in order to heal, you need to forgive. And I said, but how do I forgive? And she said, you don't need to know how. You just need to be willing. And so my journey began then at 35. And it was during one of her workshops that we did family constellation. And the 6-year-old had emerged then. And I realized, oh my gosh, I buried this for so long. Well, the 10-year-old I've healed. The 10-year-old was a madrasa, Maulana, a principal. And I remember when I spoke out about it, I was told I'll be breaking a family unit. And I repeat myself in every interview and I say, who thought about breaking me? I went through 30 years of my life not feeling good enough and feeling as if I was dirty and I was the culprit, and I had no voice. Let's put it that way. I had no voice. I'd been on chronic medications for all these emotional issues, only to have weaned myself off when I healed each emotion. So I've had thyroid. Thyroid is the throat. I had no voice. I couldn't speak about it. I did have my mom's support. I must tell you, my mom was amazing. But, going way back then, belief systems keep you stuck and quiet. And I ask the very people who sat and watched each of my abuse and who sit on their self-righteous seats of judgment and judge me for speaking out today, I want to remind you that if you are silent when you witness oppression, you are as guilty as the oppressor.
I love that. Yes.
So I'm just,
I encourage everybody, if you know something is wrong, come out and speak about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. We just need more support, I think. I think there's been so many women I've been attracting right now after the book has been released. And I ask them, but why are you not speaking about it? Why are you not moving? I mean, you are complaining about being in this position every single year and things don't get better. You're not a tree, you need to move. But women are afraid to take their power back. I don't know if it's about sitting in a comfort zone or really it is the fear base. Where will I go? What will I do? For me, I think I just reached a point of no return. I was at complete zero. And you know what? When the day I took my power back and I affirmed that I deserved to have a better life, my life flipped. My life switched.
Wow.
And only good things have been happening. I mean, from zero, from a teacher, I became a powerful businesswoman in my area, in my field. And that is the role the model that I want to be for my girls, for my children growing up. But you know what? I don't always have to just flip over and accept. I need to stand up. I need to be more assertive. I need to take my power. I mean, there's women like you, we read your bios, you inspire us. And that's what women need to know, that you don't always have to take the back seat. It's not okay.
Yes, I so agree with you. But just, talking about being with your husband, still staying in the marriage and being abused by him and writing a book, how does it feel? How does it feel to, in terms of him, the big reveal, and he's still around? Because usually when women are abused, they would go out there when the divorce is over and then write about it and tell their story. But you're still in this marriage. So how does it feel? I mean, it's quite intriguing to know.
Look, it's a very peaceful space that we are in, because I started the journey like about 15 years ago. I did take a sabbatical because, remember, if you don't shift and you don't move, there are no consequences. There has to be a consequence. So I did move out. I took a sabbatical. And in the time that I moved, he knew that he had to up his game if he wanted this marriage to work. So I didn't force him to shift with me. I just said, I'm going on this journey to fix myself up, because I need to heal. And until I'm not healed, we're not going to have a conducive relationship. And so I think he silently watched me, he observed me. A year later, we moved back together. And yeah, there was some good improvement. There was like really good changes. I can tell you he's made a 360-degree turn, in the sense that he's never lifted a finger. He's never been emotionally abusive to me in the last 15 years. 14 years now. It's 29 years that we're together. And when I did the book, and I needed to take the permission of my family, because we were going to be out there. We were going to be under scrutiny. And he's the first person's permission I took. And he said, baby, go with the story. If it's going to change lives, go with the story. I'm so proud of him, because, he accepts that he messed up, and he accepts, he's taken accountability. And I think that's the story that the message he wants to send out, that guys, we all make mistakes. Everybody has a bad day. You get a really bad person, or you get a person having a bad day. And we all make mistakes. We expect God to forgive us. I mean, this is the holy month of Ramadan, and we can stand in front of our Creator and we can ask Him to forgive us, but we don't find it so easy to forgive. Forgiveness doesn't come easy, Shamila. It's like my coach had said, you have to be willing to forgive. Yes. So when you're willing to forgive and you use the tools in process, every single day. It's like a gym routine, because if you skip a day, you're going to slip away. I mean, I'm not telling you that we are perfect. Yes, we still do have our issues, but we don't unpack. We don't stay there. We pick up a tool, 5 minutes, 10-minute tool. So the most you're stuck in that space, negative space, is a day. The next day you can pick yourself up and you're feeling better and brighter, and hallelujah, it's a great day.
Yes. And look at you now. I mean, you've done so much in that time, writing about your story, your experiences. And I think it's quite a relief just getting it off your chest as well and sharing with the rest of the world, because you have no idea who else is going through that or has been through that. And here you come out and you tell your story and you're helping others. You are basically inspiring people to come out there or just go out there and tell their stories and share their journeys as well. And that's what we want.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what we want, because you know what? It's cyclical pain. It continues from generation to generation. So it takes one person in a home to change and say, I'm breaking this chain. My mother went through it. Her mother had gone through it. I'm not accepting it. I want better. I want to be served better. And then she's creating to have a better life. I mean, if you look at our days, what did we do with our emotions? We didn't know. We were not taught. And now we're in that better position to teach our children, listen, guys, if you affirm every day that you are perfect and you are beautiful and you are worthy and you're a genius, then that child of yours grows up believing that. And she brings her children up in that way. So you find that energies have changed in homes now compared to our time.
Definitely. Definitely. I think parents are becoming more open with their kids as well. But Tess, I think, if you had to just address a group of girls, I'm talking about 6 to 10-year-olds, and with you being through all these experiences, what would be your message to them, or look out signs? What would you tell them to look out for in terms of abuse?
First, I think that I would teach them to be really confident about themselves, because when they feel confident, then they feel more assertive. And then they need to know about their body parts, and they need to know which is a no-no zone. They need to know that they can teach others how to respect their boundaries. It's very important. I've been chatting with a lot of people during this past month, and I said, I think it's so important for them to reintroduce these periods, the way we used to have like the guidance periods in schools, and the first 30 minutes, use the tools that every single workshop, empowering workshop, teaches you: the gratitude, the affirmations, the prayer. I think that if they have all these tools, the meditation, the exercise and good nutrition, so it's 6 tools. If they have these, they are well-rounded and they feel confident about themselves. And when you feel confident, you're teaching the next person to respect you. Trust me, it's just all the way you position yourself. Your disposition is really very important, because when I was younger, I remember going through the abuse, and I remember being like really afraid all the time. So I would let people bully me. And then suddenly I just switched to become really brave, and my chest went out. I became the bully in essence. I really taught people to respect me, to say that when I walk in a room, you're going to respect me. So that 10-year-old needs to be guided to love herself wholly, totally, completely, and to be really very confident.
Yes, because if you look at the 10-year-olds now, they are a lot more mature than we were 10 years, if you compare them, especially when it comes to technology, being on social media and all of that. They've really grown up. So I think, they should know exactly what's right and what's wrong. And that is all education. We need to educate these children. And that starts, I think, at home. Do you agree with me?
It starts at home. I completely agree with you. You see, because although they appear to be far more confident, really, doctor, let's look at them. They still search for validation, because what are we putting out there on social media? We're really putting up this illusion on social media that you've got to be this perfect, really wealthy, with flawless person. And so this little girl, who's probably on the weighty side and comes from a home that's not all together, is searching validation. And she really is so insecure. There are so many of those. So it does begin at home. I completely agree with you. If the parents, if the mother, because mothers are big role models for their children. So if the mother can teach the child that, you know what, it's okay. You don't need a crutch all the time. You don't need, because everybody's going to leave you. At some point in your life, your partner's going to leave you, your parents will leave you, your kids will leave you, even your friends will walk away from you. And you're going to be one person standing alone. You've got to let go of those crutches. You've got to believe in yourself, really believe in yourself.
I so agree with you. You know, me having a daughter as well, you know, she started learning from a very young age where I educated her on everything. And, you know, I work in the rural areas and, you know, I work with girls, menstruating girls, teenage girls. And some of the girls, they don't even know when they actually have their periods. They think they got hurt or they're insecure or they have an infection. They go and cry themselves to sleep, etc. And these are the experiences we have in the communities. So it's so important for the conversations to actually begin at home. There's so much, and you know, as an educator for over 2 decades, you know there's so much a teacher can actually teach you or tell you in class because of the limited time, the limited conversation. These days, if teachers say something untoward, it's held against them. So you have to be careful as to what you're going to actually converse with these kids as well. So I would still say, yes, I maintain it begins at home. But just moving ahead, talking about you being an educator for over 2 decades, what was the transition and why the transition to go into entrepreneurship?
It's strange you ask me that because I do talk about it in the book as well. Because I was so unhappy at school and I felt that the system had failed me. I vowed that there's going to come a time in my life when I'm going to grow up and I'm going to burn all the schools down. Technically speaking, I didn't burn the schools down, but I did become an educator because I wanted to go in, infiltrate the system and change things. And if I look back at my students now who are parents as well, I think I got that bit right because they have so much of respect for me to this day, so much. I taught with love. I didn't teach with an iron fist. I taught with love. And I think that's the difference. Then how did I shift to being a businesswoman? I was a teacher. I was earning peanuts. And when you earn peanuts, you're treated like a monkey. So when I taken the sabbatical, I moved in with my dad, and he was in the flooring business. And I said, Dad, teach me the business. And that was a big step for me because I had no knowledge on business, and I was entering a man's world. So I was at that time, I remember, I think I was probably the second Indian female, so really speaking, the second Black female to have joined the TopCarpets and Floors franchise. And I think it was an honor that they'd flown from Durban to Bronkhorstspruit, because that's where I based myself, to see this little brown girl and offer me a seat at their table. Mm-hmm. And I was in at the right place at the right time, because when I'd taken it, all the government positions, and I had BE behind me. And yeah, I can say all praise is due to God, because he didn't forsake me. He held my hand and I got through it. And from a teacher earning peanuts and being the monkey, I became the powerhouse in my industry.
That's wonderful. And you've also picked up a few accolades. Do you want to take me through that?
I did win the Businesswoman of the Year award there. And it's something I worked very hard for, because remember, you're struggling in this man's world and you really need to compete. And also you need to earn the respect of your teams as well, because in the Black community, it's also very much like the Indians, very patriarchal. So for them to have a lady boss to answer to was like really a big thing. However, I've been in the business over 10 years now, and I still have the same teams. So that says a lot, because it was never that you're working for me. It was always, it's our business. We're growing this together.
That is so important, to work as a team, and you can see there's loyalty there as well. Well done on that. You know, it shows a lot about the person that you are. But just going back, so I'm just going to go back to your book now. You've just launched the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to read the title because I might just make a mistake with the title. I am not a fucking mop. It sounds weird.
Yeah.
True story of a woman who found saffron at the heart of an abusive past. Okay, so who would you encourage to read your book?
I would encourage men and women to read it. Men so that they can take accountability. Women so that they can take their power back. They don't always have to be the doormat. And I mean, when I say doormat, it's just not your spouse's doormat, because when you are like that, you let your friends treat you that way. You let your clients treat you that way. You just let everybody treat you like a doormat. So it's really about giving women their power back. And it's also to motivate them and tell them, if I can do it, anybody can do it. You just got to believe in yourself, and you got to move past that why me syndrome. I do share a lot of other stories in there. I do share that I am a human, that even though I've had the tools and that I have evolved my spirit being, I have been challenged every single year. I have had some kind of challenge. My daughter was widowed, and I had to take care of her and her son. My sister was widowed with 2 boys. I've got them as well. And their pain becomes my pain. So you always faced with a challenge. However, these people live with me, and they shift with me, and they use these tools with me. So I want women to know that, you know what, we don't always have to say, why me, why me, why me. You got to say, I know it's me, because if I don't know pain and I don't know hurt, I won't be able to heal others. So you have a higher purpose. It's not just getting up and cooking and baking. Cooking and baking has its place, but you also have a higher purpose. You can be that role model to your children at home. You'd not necessarily have to go out and do the NPOs the way you and I do it, but just serving your family at home as the best possible human you can be. Teach them love, teach them kindness. You don't always have to tell them, you've got to be a doctor and you've got to be a lawyer, because that's how society is going to respect you. You've got to be loved. You've got to be kind, and you've got to be respectable to each other. I mean, I can't promise you that my husband and I will have it together forever. I can tell you that we've reached a space of respect for each other, and that is so important. And that's what this book is for. This book has tools in it. You don't have to stay stuck complaining year in and year out. My life is so mundane and my life is like this. Pick up the book, or any other book, not necessarily mine, that shares these tools, and use these tools every single day. I cannot tell you that if you have a toxic mind, a toxic body, and a toxic spirit, you're never going to grow. And you only have the choice to wake up in the morning and say, I'm starting this morning with prayer. It doesn't matter what your belief system is. You've got to pray to something, because there is a higher source up there. When you have prayer, when you have exercise, and you have correct nutrition in your life, you have discipline, you have routine. And once you've got that, you're in a peaceful place. Nobody can take anything away from you, because you're happy with your body, your mind, and your spirit.
I love
so
that.
That's my message.
Absolutely love that. And I'm so glad that I'm having this conversation with you, because I've just been through an incident with a so-called friend that betrayed me as well. And, you know, in terms of being toxic, but I don't want to go too much into that. But I think, you know, we tend to trust people a lot. We believe them. We believe what they say. But deep down inside, they want to stab you in the back. So yeah, I'm not going to dwell too much on that. But, you know, that's something that I can overcome quite easily, because going forward, you know who to trust and what to tell, what to share, and and whatever. But just talking about love, you touched on love, and it's so important that love begins at home. And I always tell people this, it's so easy for us to go and tell somebody, I love you, or you put the phone, before putting the phone down, you speak to a friend and you say, I love you. A lot of us mean it because we say it from the heart because this person has some special bond with us. But a lot of these people that do that, they don't tell the people next to them that's living with them in that same house that they love them. So now it defeats the whole purpose of love. Who do you love more? Or what's the definition of love? Do you agree with me?
I fully agree with you. I've got a chapter in the book about that. Tell your partner you love him. Be the first to make the moves. Don't wait for him. I talk about sex. I talk about sex, yoga, and pancakes in the book because intimacy is really very important. If a husband and a wife can be intimate to each other in front of their children will know that love is love and love is not pain. And they will be able to give and receive love so much easier. I fully agree with you. We put on these faces, many faces, and we're smiling with everybody outside, and then you come home and then you're this monster at home. There's just it doesn't make sense. It begins at home. It's really so important. And I've been telling so many people, like if people come to me and they have relationship issues, sex is a taboo word. They want to whisper the word. And the first question I'll ask them is, what's your intimacy like? Sex is really so powerful. We produce our children through there. They come from love. So it's really a powerful word. It's a powerful exercise. Yes. And if you're present with your partner and you show him love and you kiss him and you hug him, don't wait for him to invite you to the dinner party. You wear your sexy lingerie and you invite him. And you know what? That's how you teach your children love.
Absolutely. I love that. And, another good author is Dr. Tlaleng Mofokeng, who writes about sex. I'm not sure if you heard about her. She's a sex doctor in South Africa.
No.
Women that always talks about sex. And I love her chats. I love, listening to her, being with her, talking to her. She's a good friend of mine. So if you want, get your hands on a book as well. It's called Dr. T. I'll send you the title of the book. Very interesting. She also touches on my menstrual cup there, which is great. But I want to also get a copy of your book because it seems like I've touched on so many things. It's as though I read some of your little snippets already. So I want to get hold of your book. Where can one buy your book?
My book is available at the moment. I do have agents in different, in Cape Town, in Durban, Johannesburg, directly from myself. I am trying to secure with some business partners. We're trying to secure the deal to go through with exclusive books. It's been a challenge. It's really been a challenge because it's who you know, it's not what you know. But I'm going to get it in there. For the time being, you can get it through me. However, your gift is on its way to you. I'm still waiting for your address.
Thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to reading it. I co-authored a book with 17 other women. We got together in October last year. It's called My Pink Stilettos, which is available on Amazon. And amazing book as well. Ladies telling their stories. It's actually, the main author is Dr. Larita Rice-Barnes, who's based in and I'm one of the ambassadors and co-author in the book. I have there as well. So it's quite crazy with the career.
I'm going to get that as well. I'm going to get that as well because you are a really powerful woman doctor. And I've waited a long time to get this interview with you because I've read your bio and you're so inspirational. I thank you for that.
It's a pleasure. In fact, you can actually buy the Kindle version and read it on any device. So if you have a smartphone, iPad, any device, you can read the Kindle version.
I'll do that.
I, as the co-author, had to get the Kindle version because my consignment was sent in December and I still didn't receive it here in South Africa. Yes. So get the Kindle.
I'm guessing it's COVID here.
Amazing little stories there and you love it. There's a lot of women sharing experiences very similar to yours as well.
My pink stilettos.
My
My
Pink
Pink
Stilettos.
Stiletto.
Yes, you can also follow the page, My Pink Stilettos Global on Facebook.
I'm going to do that right away when I'm done with you.
Awesome. And then just talking about COVID-19, how did it affect you and your business?
How did it affect me and my
business?
My business. Like everybody else's businesses, yes, we did experience a little bit of a low. However, looking at our stats this year for last year, would you believe it was really phenomenal? So I think it just goes back to your energies, that when you trust and you believe and you let go and you're using your tools and you're not chasing and you're not stressing, it will find you. So our stats were no different.
Totally agree with you. You know, I launched the Red Corner show in August last year during Women's Month. It was the best thing ever because I was going through a mental fatigue. I wasn't stimulated enough because I'm a people's person. I want to be with people all the time. And I just found that I couldn't do that during lockdown. It was just my kids and I, and we're here and seeing each other, although we've been working, but it's not the same as being out there, being at events, socializing, networking. And it was getting to me, it was becoming very frustrated. And, you know, I'm a lecturer at UNISA, and I was going to actually have a slot on UNISA radio just before we went into lockdown. There were talks about that, and I was going to launch the program, and then we went into lockdown with COVID. And then I sat down and thought the one day, I said, you know, here's something that I can do on my own. We have technology, we have Zoom. Let me just start my own show. And that's exactly what I've done. And to date, I've interviewed over 130 people.
Wow. Wow on you. And you know what? I think that your platform is going to really be a huge success because this is what we need. We need more platforms like this. Yes. So thank you so much for opening this for us. You see, COVID really did serve you because if you didn't have COVID, you wouldn't have had this launched.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely. So, you know, I have been approached by 2 radio stations already talking about a TV show as well. So there's a lot in the pipeline, and I'm praying and hoping that something's going to happen. I'm sure it will because I'm a very positive person, but it's just that I'm doing so much at the moment. So yes, that will come. But just
and you also have a lot to offer. You have so much to offer. So you certainly will be an asset wherever you go. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You know, I try my best, and, you know, a lot of people don't understand that with my busy life, you know, sometimes my kids tell me that they've got to make an appointment to see me, which is ridiculous. And they always tell me, you know, you need to take a break. You need to switch your phones. You need to just have some me time. I'm not sure when that's going to come.
So do you actually do that? Because, I mean, if anybody looks at your profile, where do you find the time?
Okay, so I try to mix business with pleasure, or you know, try to get some me time in. So if I have an event or if I have something that I'm attending, I'll try to book an extra day at the accommodation place, or just get away for the weekend, or take a drive in the countryside, or just have lunch with the kids. You know, I try to slot in stuff that makes me feel more fulfilled as a person because I love that. I love the outside world. So I try to get that in, not as much as I should or could at the moment because of COVID-19 and all the pressure around that, just trying to be safe as well. But I think in due course, yes, I will get back to normal. For now, I'm pushing that doctorate. I've got a very interesting study that I'm pushing. So yeah, hopefully that's going to be done by the end of this year. And then I have other things to focus on. So, you know, I belong to 3 very big organizations in the world. So it's LONI, Ladies of All Nations International. We are the chairperson for South Africa. The Global International Alliance USA, I'm the Africa chairperson. And then the International Youth Society, I'm the current country director for South Africa and the national president for South Africa. So I think organizations you need to look into, and people that are watching as well, contact me if you want to get involved. Yes. And let's work together and collaborate. You know, I'm trying to put.
Please count me in as well. I'd also like to be involved with you. Wherever you need me to fit my services in, please know that I am available, completely NPO for that, hey?
Absolutely. Because I think, there's so much of potential in so many people in South Africa, and I want to give South Africans that visibility and put them on the map. And I've done that with so many people already. So I think, it's important for you to, anybody that's watching this, contact me if you want to get involved and see how you can get involved, because there's a lot of individuals that are doing amazing work, but they're not being noticed or recognized for it. I know, some people would say, if you're doing community work, don't go out and show off. But it's not about showing off, because whatever you're doing, you're going to inspire others to do more.
It's networking.
Something. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I fully agree. Please count me in with that. Just let me know at any time.
For sure. For sure. We're busy restructuring Loni at the moment, and we just planning strategically as to how we're going to move ahead. Obviously, COVID has tied our hands down. There's a lot that we want to do that we can't do right now. But just watch my pages. There's going to be a lot of interesting things happening soon. So we are creating a database as well. So as I said, people that want to join the organizations and come on board and work with me, please contact me.
Great stuff. I'll also put that word out on my social media platforms.
Wonderful. So Taz, back to you. What else can we expect from you in the future?
What else can you expect from me in the future? I'm just hoping that my book can get into the schools. It needs to be a set work. After a very good friend of a person that interviewed me in Cape Town, who developed a friendship with me, is trying to motivate for this book to be a set work. I don't know if the title will be an issue. The content is brilliant. That's where I want to go with my book. It's never about, making money or getting famous or saying, hi, I made it on TV. It's about helping others and reaching others. That's what it's about for me.
I think you have amazing stories in there to tell. And yes, I think it would be really worthwhile getting into schools, because that is the grounding sort of growth of learners, where they can latch onto certain things that you mentioned in the book, which is quite inspiring and also educational for them. So I think, yes, definitely that would be something. If you need any assistance with any networking, I can try and help. I know a lot of people network quite a bit. So let's try and help you get it off the ground and see how far we can go with that.
Thank you so much. I'm definitely going to take you up on that. Thank you so much.
Yes. But any special message to, I'm not going to say just women, but to men and women out there? What's your special message?
My special message is just be in love. Love is the most healing force in the world. Because when you have love, you're going to shift to forgiveness. And that's what we want.
Love it. Thank you so much. And yes, love. And you know what? Love is so open-ended. It could be with anybody. It could be with your partner. It could be with your friend. It could be with your companion. It could be with your boss, your employer, anybody. But I think it's so important to just portray that love and show people that you do love and care. I'm tired of hearing about this. I'm an introvert and I'm an extrovert and whatever. We're all people. Come on, get out there and talk about it. I always say to people, you come on my show, it's an informal chat show. Nobody's perfect. If you make a mistake, it's fine. If I make a mistake, it's fine. Nobody's going to shoot you down for it. You're going to get these little people in the background that won't even come to a mic or in front of a camera. And they're the ones, the keyboard warriors, that have a lot to say. But if you have the guts, come out there, go out there and speak it. Speak your heart out. Tell your story. Share your journey. Because there's so many people that you can actually help.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shamila. I do hope that other women who are in my space have seen the show and take you up on that one, because they need to share their stories.
Love it. Tess, thank you so much for joining me. I had a wonderful chat. Thank you for sharing your journey with me. I'm looking forward to reading your book. For sure, I'm going to read it and give you a review, definitely. And to anybody that's watching out there, and if you would love to get onto the Red Corner Show, please drop me an email, redcornershow@gmail.com. Connect with me on social media. Follow our social media pages. You can search Red Corner Show anywhere on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. We are there. Go and watch the videos in your spare time. You're definitely going to learn something and learn from the people like Taz that just inspired you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Love you.
Love you lots. Say it from the heart.
I mean that, yeah.
Bye, Taz.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.